Hey, welcome back. This is part two of the Recon multi-day loadout. Today we're going to be covering the pack. Hey, welcome back to part two. Covering the pack and its contents today. Just a little bit about what we're looking at here. This is a 3,000 liter pack. So this is pretty much kind of a good mid-range pack. This isn't a carry everything type of pack. So one of the things that you have to make sure you do with this is you take what you need and nothing of what you don't. It is hard to really work on having the 2 is 1, 1 is none type mentality. Some of the things that you're going to carry, you're only going to have one of. But make sure that your mission critical and your essential equipment is always 2 is 1. So let's get into the pack. So first off, I've got a scrim on the pack. This obviously helps me kind of break up the outline of the pack. One of the things that we talked about in part one is the fact that I can utilize this scrim for personal camouflage if I need to from within my hide site. And that is one of the things that we'll cover in part three, and eventually when we get out and build us an LPOP site, show you basically all the different techniques for being able to do so. So getting started with this, we'll go ahead and take the scrim off. And the scrim is clipped on with a few S hooks, so I can flip that off to the side there and get that out of the way. All right, on my pack, on what I have on the outside of my pack to start, I'll kind of bring it around where you can see a little bit better. I have got a cut down sleeping pad. So this is what I call a 3/4 sleeping pad. From my knees down doesn't require padding when I'm sleeping out in the wilderness. So I cut my pads down to basically cover from my shoulder down to my knees. That provides me with what comfort that I need, and my head's going to be either resting on my pack or it's going to be resting in a stuffed sack that's got some clothing in it. The other part about this sleeping pad is that I can lay this down if when I'm laying prone and looking out from the LPOP or my observation post, whatever you want to call it. I can lay on this to kind of just give me a little bit more comfort. It's definitely an advantage to have something that works. The reason that I'm using this instead of an inflatable pad, inflatable pads leak. Every time I've ever had one, even some of the high-end ones, every time I'll take them out, every once in a while, they will leak. And I end up having to sleep on the ground. Not very comfortable, kind of makes things miserable. So I want a little bit of comfort. That's where this pad comes in. So with this, I have also got my tripod for my optic. So I've got this bolted to the back. And all this is just a little mini tripod that I can set up and allow me to be able to set up my optic for my observation. So got this over here. All right, so let's roll this around and see the other side. On this side, I've got one of two ponchos. I'm going to be using two ponchos for my shelter, and I'll explain later on why. But in the short version of this, I'm going to layer two ponchos. I'm going to have one low and airspace and one over the very top. The reason I'm doing that is that this cuts down on thermal signature. It gives me a layering space where wind can pass through and disperse the heat that's coming out from behind them. If I'm only using one poncho and there's two of us underneath there, which there always is going to be, basically at some point our body heat's going to warm up that poncho above us. So having two ponchos layered to where air can move through, the heat is trapped on the bottom one, the top one stays cool. It basically allows us to hide from thermal drones. So that's the first of the two ponchos. I have this is the Spetsnaz style of shovel, I guess is what it's become known as. I honestly think this is probably one of the best shovels out there. I've heard it referred to as a sapper shovel, but I like this so much better than a folding shovel. This gives me some solid ways to be able to dig a hole. This thing has actually been sharpened enough where I can chop with it if I need to. For being able to dig out and prep my hide site, this works great. Now, again, this is one of the little heavier items that I carry, but I feel like carrying that extra weight on this is made up for in the fact that it is probably one of the most useful items that I bring with me. So it definitely comes in handy for everything that we do. So coming along to outside pocket. So on my outside pocket, I have which y'all have seen on a couple of videos, a Faraday bag. If I need to go completely electronic silent, I can put every one of my electronics into this Faraday bag, top it off, and not have to worry about whether or not I'm being detected with signals. There's going to be ways for me to be able to know what's going on in my kit that I utilize to be able to monitor the area. So, but having this is always great because then I can deaden everything at once. So handy to have. All right, now we'll move down to the bottom here because this is going to be the easiest to access before we get to the top. So this is going to be my sleep systems and a little bit of my camouflage. This is my second poncho. Get it out of there. So that's my second poncho. This is going to be my lower poncho. I've got my paracord and webbing and such to be able to tie my ponchos out for my shelter. I have got my camouflage. So I've got what I guess is referred to as a sniper veil. Utilize this for some camouflage or basically to drape over the front or any items to help me camouflage it. Then moving into this is a bivvy. So in the event that I'm out in colder weather, I can slip into this bivvy and it's going to help me retain a lot of warmth. So definitely handy to have. If I put on all of my extra layers and then get into this is going to retain a lot of warmth and it's going to make things a lot easier on me. All right, so getting into the main part of the pack, we've got the top pocket here. So in my top pocket, I have got some essentials. And when I say essentials, this is going to be things like some foot powder, just to be able to make sure that I don't end up with blisters. I have got some unscented dude wipes, which is, I think they call these things combat wipes now. I have got some little additional sunscreen and bug repellent as needed. And in here, this is 3 vials of natural bug repellent. Now, one of the things that you've got to make sure is that you don't want to have scented things out there. Scents can travel distance and can be picked up. So what I have is I've found some stuff that is basically this is a natural made and it smells like cedar, which is going to be very similar to what's in the area. So if I utilize this bug spray, I can basically kind of blend in with the environment. The scent that I utilize in this is not going to be so telltale as to me being out there. So that is my little kind of essentials bag. All right, moving into, this is my water bladder, my backup water bladder and filter system. This is by Pack. So this is the filter system that goes with it. This can be used as a drinking straw in multiple other ways. This is the Pack 1 liter. So this is a small pack that can be broke down. The beauty of this is that I've got multiple ways to drink out of it. If I have clean water, I've got a valve here. I have actually got a little kind of shower set up, or I can take the shower head off and use it for filling up water bottles if I need to. One of the other things that I can do is I can take this filter and I can snap it directly into the bladder so that if I want, I can put dirty water in here. I can squeeze it out through the filter and fill up bottles, or I can drink it directly. So definitely a handy little device to have with all the different features that go with it. All right, so I am pretty well blind as a bat. I wear contacts, so this is my eye kit. I have my Oakley protective shades. These are transitions that are in it, but I've got yellow and I've got tinted as well. I have got backup contacts in here as well as solution, so that if I have to change out my contacts. And then because I need readers, I have what's known as a bifocal lens on these safety glasses. So I've got a 2-power reader at the bottom, and the very top is just standard glasses so that I can see through it and look at anything else. But when I'm looking at my screens and such, I can look down through that. So it's making sure that I am prepared for what's going on around me. Now also I have, for these Oakleys, they also come with an option that I can get my prescription lenses. Just in case I have to take my contacts out, I can pop these prescription lenses into my Oakley. So with these glasses, I can, if something was to happen and I can't use my contacts, I hurt my eye or something like that, I can actually pop these into my Oakleys and still be able to see what's going on and be able to continue the mission. So it's always about having good backups with you as well. So also down in here, I have got two other items that are wildly important that you have seen on previous videos. So I've got water keys just in case I come across someplace where I can refill with water and I need the water key. Those come in handy to have. I have got, three items. I have got a bug net so that if I am camping out and the little mosquitoes down here in the south are driving me nuts, I can put this on, and if I'm sleeping or in some position where they're just driving me crazy, I can put this on, and that's going to prevent them from biting at my face while the rest of my body is covered up with my clothing. So handy to have. And then, of course, last but not least, this is my face camo. I keep a little ranger band around it, or a rubber band around it, taped in the middle. That way I can just take these tops off, move them around as needed, and of course this holds it down, and I don't have to worry about it coming open in my pack. These will melt if you leave them in your car, as I have found out, and they are hard to get out of carpet, just to let you know. So that is the top pack. So let's move down into the main part of the pack. So in the main part of the pack, I have got, this is going to be something we'll talk about in part 3. This is my journaling setup, so this is what I'm going to be using to take notes, get information, and mark what pictures and different things that I have already. We'll get into that in part 3. This is my mission kit. This is going to be my radio receiver, a couple of other items in here that are going to be kind of essential for being able to do what we're doing as far as listening post and observation post. We'll get into this again, part 3. I have got my optic. So this is just a little simple optic. This is a spotting scope. I have this done up with kind of my little homemade scrim made out of some ATAX mesh. Works great for the purpose of what I'm doing with it. Makes it easy to conceal it. Adds to the breaking up the outline of it. So very handy to have. This gives me more than enough of what I'm going to need for this particular mission. Now, depending on where you're at, you may need something with a higher power. So remember that you need to figure out where you're going to be setting up your LPOP, the alternate locations, and how far that is going to be for you to be able to see the area that you're in. Now, don't forget, not only do you need to see the area, you need to be able to read things. You need to be able to read license plates. You need to be able to get really good views of people, be able to see, you know, any sort of descriptive factors of them, being, you know, scars. If you can get close enough, you know, with your optic to be able to see eye color. These are all things that we want to be able to notate to keep up with what we're observing and what we're paying attention to. So moving on down, I have got my water bladder is back here in the back. Again, this is a 2-liter water bottle. That's going to give me more than enough. I have got glow sticks. I've got glow sticks, which are, you know, I've got 3 different colors of glow sticks. This goes into our communication plan. I'm not going to get a whole lot into that because we utilize our own communication plan, but being able to use different colored glow sticks, some people use different colored smoke, those kinds of things, very handy to have, be able to have your own communication plan. So I've got a green, red, and a blue glow stick. Again, this gets us back into our communication plan so that if needed, I have a way to communicate with the rest of my team or others that may be coming in to assist. I have got a solar panel. So this is a Brunton 5-watt solar panel. It's not much to it. This is going to allow me to recharge my battery bank, which will also help me keep my electronics charged up. All right, I've got a small saw. So in order to help me build my shelter or my LPOP, I'm going to need a small saw. I don't want to chop. Sawing I can do just kind of to help get me branches and different things out of the way if I'm not using my knife to get it down. But this is a lot quieter than trying to chop on something. Any of y'all that have been out in the woods, if you smack something against a tree or you're chopping on something, you can hear it for forever. And when you're in a valley or on the side of a ridge, noise bounces. So you want to pay attention to that. So having a little saw is always handy. I've got a backup tourniquet in here just in case I need it. I have got my little boo-boo kit in a waterproof case. So this is basically my boo-boo, where I have different kinds of, I have got allergy medicine, I've got Tylenol, I've also got anti-diarrheal, just in case. I've got sting relief bites, Band-Aids, just anything and everything you can think of to have in there. If I am feeling like I'm having any sugar issues, like I'm getting tired or something, I have some glucose in here as well that can kind of help liven me up. So handy little boo-boo kit. That helps me take care of any little things that kind of help, that can take care of problems while I'm out and trying to do the mission or whatever we're doing. So moving on down. See what I got over here. I've got, all right, just in case I want to make some coffee or boil some water or something like that, I do have a, and this is not a necessity for this because I am carrying flameless ration heaters. So utilizing this, I may not be utilizing this at all. So because this may give me away as a telltale sign. So I'm not even sure if they're still in productions, but what this is this is a little folding bucket. This is completely fireproof. You can cook on it and do all sorts of things. This is actually gives me an option for being able to boil water. I can get this thing to go together. So this folds up together. And I now have something I can boil water in that stores completely flat. What I have here is an Esbit stove, which has 4 of the fire fuels in it. That allows me to cook. These usually are pretty smokeless, but it also depends on the weather, where you're at, and you know, your environment, because sometimes these will produce a little bit of smoke. So again, this is kind of my, if I want to boil some water, if I need to, you know, make some coffee or something like that, this is an option I can work with. Again, everything that I have packed in here is in a flameless ration, or in a ration heater that will be a, get this in here. Everything that I have in here has a flameless ration heater, so I can heat it up and not necessarily have to worry about that. But this is an option. Again, if I want to boil some water or do something, you know, maybe a little morale boost or something like that. All right, so other item that I have down in here is I have a repair kit. So this is stick-on patches. If I do something to my uniform or whatever, I can stick this on. This is by a company called SOT, which is basically, I don't even know, I've had this forever, but basically it's basically like a iron-on patch, but instead it's got a fabric adhesive on it. Basically take it off, put it on. I also have in here a sewing kit. There are needles and such underneath there, and I've just dropped one of the threads. I've got thread, scissors, I've got zip ties, I've got a little bit of twine in there, I've got little pieces of fabric. So if I need to fix something or fix my clothing or whatever while I'm out, this allows me that option. Also a few buttons in there, I almost forgot that part. So you can do, that was my dog. So in this kit, I also have a few buttons and a few other things. All right, so something else I carry in here. This is a cut down VS17 panel, which I think you've seen my mini ones in previous videos, but this is a large one. This actually is a 3 foot by 3 foot square, so I can utilize this for signaling if needed, especially passive signaling to aircraft if that's something that we need to do, or a drone or such, and I can basically give them any information that I may need without even having to transmit. So this is something that comes in handy for that. Now also in the pack, I am carrying extra batteries. So this is a little extra battery case. I have got CR123s, AA's, I've got AAA's, I've got one of my Streamlight batteries in here to go with my weapon light. So handy to have. Again, it's always good to have backup. So batteries. Now, getting into some of my other stuff in here, these are my meals. This is my MREs. I have broke these down. I've taken out everything that I don't need in field stripping these. In this, I have crackers. I've got 6 main courses. I have got some jelly. I also have, because sometimes we get a little bored, I have some candies in here, just kind of give me something to work with. I have some coffee in there. This is the Nesquik coffee. I also carry, and something that's highly overlooked, is some way to clean your teeth. So that is a small toothbrush and a toothpick, which allows you to kind of get anything out of your teeth so you're not sitting there having to worry about something that's driving you nuts. So this is going to be my meal pack for the 3 days plus an extra just in case. So this is going to give me everything that I need. Again, I've left all the spoons, all the extra stuff. That's all stayed with the pack. Oh, and two of the things that I have that I didn't show you on the first pocket because I was waiting on this is that I have a metal straw, and then I have my own titanium spork. That way I don't have to carry all the extra pieces of this to have the spoons and salt and pepper and all those kinds of things that I won't need. So I have my own spork, and I've got me a little straw just in case. Gives me something to be able to work with as far as food goes. Last but not least is my clothing, is extra clothing. So in this, I have all of my extra clothing that I may need. If the weather turns cold, an essential item that everybody should take regardless of the temperature is to have an extra pair of socks. You should always have an extra pair of socks. One pair could be drying out while this pair is being worn, and vice versa. You know, yeah, are they going to be nasty by the time of the end of it? Yeah, but camping's never clean, and doing this kind of stuff is never going to be clean. You're going to come home stinky, gross, and you're definitely going to need to get hosed off before you go in and take a shower. So, extra socks. I've got gloves. If I have to sit in a position for a long period of time where I'm just observing something, I'm not allowed to get, I can't get a lot of movement, I want to be able to protect my digits. So I can put these little gloves on underneath my main gloves and be able to keep my hands warm. I also have an insulated balaclava, which this is by Under Armour. This is actually insulated and actually provides warmth. If it was cold, I would swap the one I came in with, the one I showed first, with this to be able to provide extra warmth. I have got a waffle top, which basically anybody who's had some military surplus or been in the military knows what these are. So I've got a waffle top to kind of help me keep warm. And then of course I have got a set of the bottoms as well. So I've got the basically insulated bottoms to be able to put on. And then last but not least, I have a beanie to be able to keep my head warm. So again, you have to remember that your clothing choices have to reflect the activity that you're going to be doing. Because essentially in this, you're not going to be moving a whole lot. Movement will draw attention. If you're not observing, you're probably resting. So you're either on an observation cycle or a rest cycle. While you're in the post, you're not going to be moving around a whole lot because movement draws attention to you. It also has the risk of being able to create sound. So you want to try to stay as still as possible. So while you're doing this type of thing, if there's two of you, there's going to be cycles where one is observing while the other is resting. And you'll kind of cycle that into the system after your first day. So typically in the first day, first 24 hours is usually you're wide awake the entire time. Because we're getting things set up, you're getting the rhythm of what's going on around your observation area and going from there. Once you get into that second day, you have to start resting. So one of y'all will start resting. You may sleep in shifts. While one is watching the observation post, listening to the equipment, the other will be sleeping. And then basically swap throughout the rest of the time that you're out there. So having extra layers is extremely important because, again, like I showed you with the bivvy, I want to be able to slip into something and be able to stay warm and get some rest if I need to. So always have extra gear, and of course, above all, always have extra socks. For those of y'all that were wondering about the pack, this is the Ebrel stock Freefall 3000. I'm probably not doing the name to this justice. Probably one of the best packs out on the market. I love these packs more than anything. They're more comfortable. They allow a lot of it to sit down on my hips to where I'm not carrying all of the weight up on my shoulders. All right, that's going to be it for this video. That covers the pack, its contents, and the different aspects of what all I'm carrying in it and why. The pack itself, again, great pack. I want to say right off the bat that I am not sponsored by anybody or anything that you see in these videos. I purchased everything with my own money. Nobody has reached out and given me anything in these videos for me to be able to plug or say this is all from genuine use, whether or not I like it, whether or not I've used it, and kind of pass it on to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video where we'll be covering the different tools and optics that I utilize for my listening post and my observation post in order to gather information. Thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, share our content, and let us know what you think in the comments.